Good evening, everybody. I hereby call to order this special meeting of the Board of Education for the Tuxedo Union Free School District on this Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. Can everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Gary Hefner.
Here.
Susan Mitchell.
She'll be here momentarily.
Bonnie Takeuchi.
Here.
William Clark.
Here.
Bronwyn Roundtree.
Here.
Chris Scanlon.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. And I would note that our future board member is also present in the audience, so thank you for coming.
Board member elect.
First item on the agenda is we need to discuss the school calendar. Jeff, the change is only for,
Yeah, we usually offer 2 half-days at the end of the school year to give the elementary teachers time to break down their classroom. So we're just going to amend that to add another half-day
so it's really conforming to what the common practice has been.
for many years.
Right, okay. So do I have a motion to pass? It would be June
25th.
25th, because 26th is already a half-day?
Yes.
Right. So changing to add the 25th, but it would, the last 2 days of school, the 25th and 26th, would both now be half-days. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, questions, comments?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get this out to the parents.
Yep.
This is,
Tonight is, yes.
okay.
Of course.
Well,
We've already had a bunch of parents say like, wait.
yeah,
I'm
Are
gonna
you
send an
changing it?
email
So
right now.
hopefully it's not too much troublesome for people who
we
trust
apologize.
our prior calendar. Anything else?
Susan?
Susan, we're talking about the first item was the calendar adding June 25th, so the last 2 days of school are both half-days.
Well, I did want to,
Practice.
yeah, I did want to acknowledge that it is a burden for parents, where both of whom are working, to not have a ton of time to come up with childcare. You're giving them a couple weeks to find a solution. So I just want to acknowledge that that is difficult and that we understand that that's difficult for people and commit that we won't make these kind of errors in the future, and we'll be confident in our calendar going forward.
So how does it look on next year's calendar?
2 half-days.
For next year?
Mhm.
Okay.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, the next item on the agenda are discussion items. What I'd like to do is, Chris, I know you keep pretty good meticulous notes anyway, but can I put you in charge of whatever questions, obviously if there's a question and answer on any topic, we don't have to worry about it other than we spoke about it generally, but I'm more concerned with items that aren't,
On here.
no, either aren't on here or is outstanding, we still need more information. So we have like a running
Yes.
list of open questions and with, I don't want to say a deadline, but an approximate time for how long it will take. Because some things are, oh, we'll get that to you tomorrow, and other things are like, that's not going to be ready for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So just generically, a long, short, or whatever the board members want, but I do want to put some type of calendaring, particular event on that. All right, so, oh, we don't need to approve, do we need to approve the agenda?
Good
No,
question.
not for a special.
Right, I was gonna say we
Yeah.
don't, okay. So it's gonna be discussing all these multiple items, and then, so everyone online knows, it will be about a dozen or so topics to discuss, and then we'll go to executive session, and we are expecting our council here any moment. And if there's no objection, I'm gonna invite our future board member to come into the executive session for all those topics where council says she's allowed to be present. So if there's an objection, speak up. But I would note, she can't be present when he's giving legal advice. So a lot of the topics might fall under that category. Any questions so far?
Might be brief, Michelle. Might be brief.
Okay, so I'll just go in order here, but remember, if it's not on here, we can think about discussing it too, because generally we're talking about updates and the fallout from budget and end-of-year issues. So the CIO, the data analyst, who had a question about that? There was questions about, let me get my, did I leave my phone in the car? Oh, no, here it is. People had questions about, give me a second. Their last day, I recall. How the transition's gonna work, et cetera. Jeff, do you have any information on that?
Well, her last day is officially June 29th, I believe, is a
Yes.
Friday, right? But she does have some vacation and some sick days. Chris, you have more information about that, right?
So she does have 2 or 3 vacation days scheduled in the next 2 weeks. I don't know, like sick days, of course I can't, say that, but I do know that she definitely has 2, if not 3 vacation days planned.
And does anybody have, I'm trying to, I forgot who had the question, but I'm trying to recall.
I might have lumped it together with questions on the onboarding of STEM
Yeah.
and Donley. I might have thrown it all out there.
I think it's
So
not say that
it was just more of the onboarding with everybody else, because Nancy Donnelly does a tremendous amount of, testing for special ed. So I'm just curious, how that's going. So
So what's the question specifically?
specifically, I guess the
The
question is,
CIO, right? We're doing the CIO first?
if you want to, I don't
think
really
it's
have a
linked-
question on
It's
CIO.
linked with,
Yeah.
I didn't have one, I mean,
About the CIO?
yeah.
Well, we're all good with that, so
Yep.
we'll put it on the agenda for next week.
Chris, do you feel you're having adequate time to spend with Arlene?
Not yet, no. Between the budget, between everything going on, everything that we have to get together for, everything else, I've gotten a couple of days to sit with her on different things, but there's a lot that has to be learned, and I have a couple of days planned with her, next week as well, so we're just trying to kind of piece different platforms. There's multiple areas that need, so I'm familiarizing myself with the programs and things like that. I am getting the manual, I've downloaded a few things on my own. I will sit with her next week and a few days the week after as well.
Sorry, how long has Arlene been doing this job?
25 years.
And how long do you think what does Arlene think, how much time does she think is required for training?
Arlene had sent an email to myself and Jeff that, when you go through the RIC training, it's a 2-year training,
Right.
but that's pretty extensive. However, when I sat with Arlene, she says a lot to take in, but, she gave me all the materials, I've downloaded different materials, and she just basically said, I feel confident to be able to do it, so.
So you feel that you'll have enough training between now and the time she leaves? Okay.
Oh, not
Well, I'll have
really.
Not, I mean.
That's
I wouldn't go
That's
that
the point of
far.
having the CIO come in to help her out.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. As far as like the in-house stuff, yes.
Okay.
School tools, that kind of stuff, I will get a better, because I do understand the program, I do use the program. I've used something similar to school tools in my other district. As far as the data reporting and level zeros and stuff like that, I will need a little bit more hands-on with that.
Has anyone approached Arlene for any follow-ups post-retirement where she could potentially assist in any way, if necessary?
She wasn't interested, right? Okay.
Okay.
anything else for CIO and onboarding?
Well, that leads us into the next question is STEM. So obviously, we're gonna need a new STEM coordinator. So,
Oh, okay, you don't want to go down?
we can
you
go
wanna
in line,
order?
I'm fine with that, yep.
Okay.
Which way you want to do it?
All right, next one down, principals.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody too, that council just walked in, so I wanted to remind everybody that while we're discussing these, some board members have said certain questions they have are legal advice questions. So if some or all of these topics are more appropriate for executive session, speak up, because we didn't really delineate what all the questions were going to be. So if there's a legal question, just speak up and we'll reserve that topic for executive session. Let's not go, just to follow the rules.
Okay.
Principals replacement, so generally, a lot of questions about where we are, specifically how many resumes we've gotten, who's sorting through them, how many have been weeded out, what's the plan?
Yeah, so the principal replacements, during the budget process, I'd come up with a solution. We had to save money in the budget, so we saved $100,000 by, getting agreement with 2 retired administrators, highly respected administrators, to bring them in. But the board wanted also to explore putting it out on OLAS and seeing if there were any other people out there that we could bring in on a permanent basis. So for the secondary principal, we posted that April 30th with a May 15th deadline. We have 26 applicants. The screening interviews will begin on the 15th. After that, we're going to, the typical process that I've had is I would offer the staff to participate in committee interviews, and then there would be one final interview at the end. So the first one will start next week with screening interviews. The elementary principal, same thing, posted April 30th, deadline of May 15th. 33 applications came in. The screening interviews for that will be on June 16th. And then after that, we'll schedule the committee and after that, there'll be a final interview. And that is where we are with the principals.
Have you identified the membership of the committee?
Thank you.
No, usually what we do is we put out an email to the staff and see who's interested, and then we'll look through the staff because we don't want to have, it certainly can't be the cast of Ben-Hur. It has to be, enough people, but not overwhelming for the candidate. So we usually go through the list and we pick out different people to participate.
Right, but you
That are
said it's on the
representative.
15th. That's Monday.
Mhm.
So it's Wednesday night. So we're going to identify people tomorrow and Friday to be on this committee?
Yeah, after Monday and Tuesday, we'll put an email out on, Monday evening or on Tuesday evening, inviting people to take part in a committee meeting.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
you're
Oh,
going to screen them Monday and Tuesday?
Correct.
I see.
And the people who make it through the screening process will go before the
Correct.
committee?
That's,
Okay.
that's the usual process we've been doing for at least the last 5 years I've been here.
About how many people do you expect or typically make it through the screening round into a,
Hard to say, it depends on how they do on the interview.
how many people do you anticipate screening?
We started off with top 5
Okay.
for each.
Is the PTO going to have a member on the?
Usually they do,
yeah.
yeah. Usually that's
Just
one of the
curious if
people we
there's any
invite.
other stakeholders. If the board wants to throw somebody on there, that would be acceptable.
Is there a
I'm
community member invited?
Yeah, we usually do a parent, a PTO. It could be a community member as well. Yeah.
And do the high school faculty and staff interview the high school candidates and elementary?
That's right.
Or do they
Yeah.
intermingle?
No, usually it's that way, Bonnie. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is that a high number of applications? That seems high to me, based, not crazy high, but that seems like a good number.
It's decent. Yeah.
That's promising.
In what salary range did you advertise, or is that not something we
Well,
can discuss
we
publicly?
just put commensurate with experience, but based upon the budget, it's $106,000 for salary, and the rest is benefits to come up to $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
So
And have you disclosed that to the candidates?
we did.
Okay.
Anything else on principals?
No. Any other questions on the interview committee? That was it.
Just in terms of timeline, are we going to discuss hiring an interim while this process is going on for the interviews?
Well, I'm hoping that we can get through the process relatively quickly. Hopefully, by July 1st, maybe we'll have a recommendation.
Okay.
Yep.
So then at that time, then we can, you'll have a recommendation considering the candidates that you interviewed as well as the interims.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share the interview committee once you determine who's on it?
I'm sorry?
Can you provide the interview
course,
committee?
yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. Anything else?
Yeah, we kind of skipped interview committees, but they're all bundled together.
Mhm.
So the school admin the school business admin replacement. What's the same question, I presume?
So that was posted to OLAS on June 2nd with a deadline date of June 19th. And as I had mentioned to the board originally, I suggest that we should, because Walter's last day is the 19th, that we should get an interim in here right away because it's the end of the year. We have a lot of work going on. So I reached out to a couple of retirees, didn't have much luck with that. I called OU BOCES and asked if they knew of anybody. They say it's pretty slim pickings. They gave me the name of a person. I called that person up. They seem interested, but they want to think about, what the money is going to be. So I'll have hopefully,
Interested for intern?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
Have we gotten any applications yet?
We have 6.
6, okay.
Well, if,
Posting is not up until the 19th.
Right.
Yeah.
So 6 thus
Right.
thus far.
if we're paying this person starting on the 19th, does that money come out of this year's budget or next year's budget?
well, if they're providing the services this year, it'd be out of
Okay.
this year's budget.
So then, where do we stand with an understanding of how much money is left in this year's budget and what kind of capacity we have to take on an additional expense like that?
Yeah, Walter's preparing an update on that, but I think we're in decent shape.
Can you give a little bit more color to decent shape?
Not at this particular point, no. I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk to Walter or go over the financials with him.
So when do we typically get, like a summary of the budget for this year, with all the expenditures taken into place? Like, when do we get that report?
Usually at the regular board meetings. So next week you'll get an update, which
But
will
like
be
for the
through
year, the whole year though, not just for
sometime in the summer.
in the summer?
Yep.
Okay.
That'll be unaudited. The auditors will come in and do their work, and then you'll know at the
November meeting,
October. It should be.
October.
Yeah, it should be October. I mean, we can go into November, but it would be preferable we can get it done in October. But, either way, it's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Given the constraints of the austerity budget, though, I think that goes back to what Bronwyn's asking. And I know, I remember last year, a lot of the billing from BOCES and things like that don't come in till July and August. I think we need to make sure we have a cushion for
Of
any
course.
surprises.
Yeah.
So if there can be some sort of prognosticating presented at next week's meeting,
Yeah.
I would find that helpful.
Yeah, that's what I'm having Walter do. Yeah.
Dave, I don't know if you can answer this in public, but what happens, just generally speaking, if, when all the money's come in, we're on an austerity budget, we're $2 short? Where does the $2 come from? Do I have to pay the $2?
Here you go, Gary.
Okay, pass the hat, pass the hat.
Just general, I mean, that's not for us particularly, but just the general law question of how does that work in New York State when a school district in an austerity budget literally runs out of money at, 2 hours before midnight and they're a couple dollars short?
You shouldn't pay more than the austerity budget amount. You'd have to find an adjustment to make.
So I wanted to make sure everyone knew that. Thank you. So anything else under the last 3 topics, which are principals, admin replacement, and the interview committees for all of that? We're good? Any other questions? All right, the scheduling grant, I know you had the most questions, so I'll just,
Have we submitted our application for that grant?
Yes, we have grant money available. I did speak with the U.S. Department of Education just to verify all that. And we do have available funds for 25-26 and coming up for 26-27. Yeah, we have ample funds for that.
So they have already awarded the grant?
Yes.
So when did we submit our application for the grant?
I don't recall the date that it was submitted.
Okay. And do we have like an official letter or any communication other than a phone call
Yeah,
confirming that?
We do.
Okay. Would have been helpful to share.
Can everyone walk me back? The grant, I'm sorry, back on April 28th, I believe I was told that Jared was going to create the schedule. I missed a meeting, so what happened to Jared doing the schedule? And
He's part of the process.
so he's creating, where is he in the process? If we need a grant and we're bringing other people in, that means the schedule's nowhere near complete.
We're preparing it now.
Okay. Can we just get through a couple items, because we're definitely coming back here?
We're coming back.
Oh, yeah, we've got the course offerings, which then goes into the teacher schedule, which, then we can talk about the grant.
Okay.
Well, the grant is what we're dealing with right now.
Okay, so
Any other
then let's-
questions about it?
Oh, no, let's continue on. Continue
So
on.
when do
Chris,
we
thank you.
expect to
Yeah.
get the funds from the grant?
You have a number of months to get it back from, to put in for the expenditures to get reimbursed. I think it's like 17 months. So we have plenty of time.
So how does that fit in with the austerity budget? If
This
this
is a
person,
grant. It's a separate, yeah.
So it's that-
This is federal funds, yeah.
so that doesn't count with the
Right.
maximum
Yeah,
amount, that
this
it
gets
doesn't
charged to
factor
a-
in.
This
So
gets
are you,
charged to a
are you
grant.
up to speed with how we ended up getting the,
I am not.
okay. So Jeff, do you want to kind of bring him up to speed? on-
Unless you want to, it's either
No,
one.
No, you can explain to him how we applied for a grant at some point in time that is now going to be applied to our scheduling experts, if you're
Right. We have a
choosing.
scheduling expert coming in to help us prepare the schedule and to provide training so that we can do it completely on our own going forward.
Wasn't that done the last time we had people come in? Weren't we getting training back
Yeah.
then? I thought Jared.
Yeah, but
got
Jared's leaving.
there was no handout. We've known Jared's been leaving for several months now.
Months.
There
Oh,
wasn't
well,
any
we don't
handout.
have another principal right now.
Okay.
But if we decide to go with the interims, we'll certainly, we clue them in as well.
I'd just
but
like
yeah.
to understand what the long-term plan is as far as scheduling goes, right? So how are we going to deal with, we can't go backwards in the past, but how are we going to deal with this in the future? So are we going to have the same conversation next year with regards to the schedule, where shouldn't it be done by June so the faculty knows what they're going to be teaching and the students know what classes they're going to be taking?
That's the plan.
I think we should go back. I think we should go back 2 years ago when we had, teachers in the high school not knowing what they were teaching, right? And I think, we had parents calling up saying, hey, listen, my kid's coming to school next week and I still don't have a schedule. So I think that we can't repeat the mistakes that were made.
Yeah, we don't want to keep repeating
And
the same.
basically not on June 1st, which is kind of at least the agreed upon deadline, which gives everybody ample time. We didn't not just this year give out opaque assignments to the high school, we also did it at the elementary school.
Right.
And that's very troubling. I'm having a very big hard time with this.
Well, that's a typical letter that goes out at other school districts. We have given more detail in the past, but the letter that we put out is pretty common.
That you're just going to be teaching something in the elementary school and you're just
Well,
going to be teaching
We
something
had
in
a
high school?
significant decrease in enrollment, and we had budget. We had to make some reductions, and so we didn't want to make any promises. We sent out a tentative letter. The goal was to get through the schedule and provide more detail to people before they leave for the summer.
But we should know now who's teaching kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. We're in the second week of June.
Yep, we're
Like,
hoping to
this
have it all
is-
done by the end of the month.
The end of the month for everybody.
That's the plan.
So we can pretty much, with 90% accuracy, say that when, we're turning off the lights here, that everybody is going to have an assignment.
If all goes well, yeah.
Okay, well, I think when we made the appropriations and said, hey, listen, get us a scheduling expert, the one thing that we wanted was no excuses. So I'm going to hold you to that. I really do expect that everybody in the school is going to have an assignment for what they're teaching next year. And the reason why is because this is going to translate into poor lesson plans. It makes everybody scramble. And then the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to be reflected in test scores. And we're busting our ass here all year long trying to get better test scores. And it's kicking the can down the road, and we're setting ourselves up for failure. So the most important thing here is that we understand the fact that having a little bit of, foresight is, pays dividends down the road.
Good.
All right.
Jeff, I have a question. I didn't understand something you said. Did I hear you correctly that one of the reasons that there wasn't class assignments in the elementary school was because of significant enrollment decline, but we've been getting the enrollment reports every meeting, every month, every regular meeting. I haven't seen a significant enrollment decline in the elementary school.
We put out pretty much the same letter we put out 2 years ago. If you do the cohort survival method, we don't get any additional enrollment. Our enrollment's going to go from 170 to about 173 to 160 next year. So again, we will give out as much information as we can as soon as we can get the schedule completed. But we don't make any promises at this point. So we will have more information as we get closer to finishing the schedule.
So you're anticipating enrollment decline at GGM?
I think there's going to be some decreases, yeah.
Okay, so you're anticipating significant enrollment decline at GGM?
In the district,
and that,
no, at the district
Okay,
level,
well, that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to understand. How does that impact the GGM teachers' assignments?
We don't know for sure yet which classrooms the teachers are going to teach yet. So we think we're pretty confident, but we're not 100% sure. So we don't want to put anything out there that's going to, we're going to have to retract. We'll provide as much information as we can as we get close to the schedule. The elementary schedule should be done before the secondary schedule, so we'll get that information out to the teachers as fast as we can.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Like on April 1st, when the kids who are going to be going to private schools have to put in their application for transportation, was that number like different than this year? Did it
I
go-
don't know. I have to check with Brandon on that.
Okay, I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious because that would give us a little bit of
Idea, yeah.
foresight into
Mhm.
like what may be happening, because I know
Right.
there is a trend, when kids get to certain grades to go to private school. So I
Right.
was just curious if we could find out that number.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, so STEM,
STEM, yeah.
I'll let you start the question.
Just how is the onboarding going for a new STEM coordinator? So we got to be keeping that in-house. That's somebody that's should be here 24/7. And do we have a name? Who's Marco working with? What's the story with STEM?
We posted that position on June 5th for a deadline date of June 19th.
No, I'm not talking about the interim, the .5. I mean, who's going to be our coordinator?
That's what I'm talking about. The
Why
STEM- the
wouldn't we
STEM
train
advisor.
somebody that's already here?
Well, we have to post the position.
Okay, all right.
We have to do that.
I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's somebody internal that's going to be answering that post.
Uh,
Posted last week.
It could
We
be.
have not received any interest in the office,
Okay,
in the superintendent's as yet.
Okay,
It does not mean
fair
that
enough.
it did not go to the principal level and it hasn't gotten to us yet, but we have not received anything yet.
Are those
The
two,
email that was sent out was send a letter of interest to Jeff White, so we haven't received anything regarding STEM as of yet.
okay.
are those two separate positions, though? The STEM advisor and the STEM .5 STEM teacher are two
Now,
separate
that's not a
things.
STEM teacher, Bonnie. That's a technology teacher. There's a big difference there. Okay,
But they're two
so
separate
they're two separate
positions.
positions. Yeah, the technology teacher, we posted that April 30th. The deadline was May 15th. There were 4 applicants. There was a screening interview on May 19th. There was a committee on May 29th, and I met with the candidates today. So that's the technology teacher. The STEM advisor was posted June 5th with a deadline date of June 19th.
What's the fallback plan if there's no applicants for the STEM advisor and we need it to keep the program running?
Well, if there's nobody that applies, we have to repost it, and we have to post it also. We posted it actually externally as well through OLAS to see if anyone is taker there. We did that concurrently because we obviously want to get somebody in as quickly as possible.
Right. So what's the plan if we don't get any takers? What's plan B?
Well, we just have to keep going back to the well.
Just keep posting.
Yeah.
And if eventually we get to August and nobody has taken the job, then what happens?
Well, I hope that doesn't come to be, but I don't know what else we could do at that juncture. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I presume we'll have to contact the state and be like, what, get some advice. I mean, if we posted it 8 times and there's nobody, no interest, you know, in terms of certification, tell us, state what else to do.
Yeah.
So my question is about, you asked about the difference, or is it 2 positions, the STEM advisor and the STEM or technology teacher? I know the technology teacher has to be certified in technology, right?
Mhm.
Does the STEM advisor, I would assume, has to be certified in technology as well?
We have qualifications for that, for all these positions. We initially put it out, the qualification wasn't on there. We realized that we had to put that in there as well, but that's all in OLAS now, and it's also been posted internally to all the faculty.
Okay. And if those positions aren't filled before Marco's last day, would you consider, what can we do to help him, have the new person be able to take advantage of, Marco's expertise to transition him if Marco's left already?
So at that point, we would talk to Mr. David Shaw and, see if there was a way we could, we'd get through BOCES or some assistance that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so what day did we post the advisor and the technology positions?
Technology was April 30th, and STEM advisor was June 5th.
So why did we only post the STEM advisor 5 days ago?
We've been inundated with quite a bit. We've have a lot going on.
So just didn't get to it.
Anything else for STEM? All right, transition succession plan for special ed at GGM, is this
Yeah,
Yep, that was me.
I'm
Yep.
going to get back to you on that one.
on this whole topic?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll roll this over to next week. Obviously, any item that's not completely, Chris is out the next couple days, so it'll be a weird scheduling this time for the agenda for next week's meeting. So if something, speak up if something wasn't adequately answered, or if something new comes up, because she'll have to add it Monday real quick.
Yeah, she's already published the agenda.
But I meant additions, I meant things we want to
Understood.
roll over
Yeah.
to that meeting.
This was only shared amongst the board, it wasn't published,
Yeah, I understand.
the agenda.
Special ed.
That was it.
He said he's going to
He
do
said
it
he's gonna,
next-
yeah, he's
next
gonna
week.
get, yeah, I'm satisfied with that, thank you.
I'm making
Thank you.
Buildings, grounds, tours, I'm just looking for Bonnie for the first round of questions, tours updates.
Well, I have to actually meet with Jeff. I mean, I'm concerned if we don't have principals in the building over the summer, and people from the reserve, let's say, want to have tours, I'd like to meet with you at some point and figure out how we can have people, everybody will be scheduling vacations. I'd like to have a list of 8 or more people that will be available at some point, and we can pinch hit for each other, depending on who's in town. But I think if a family wants a tour in the summer months, we ought to be able to provide that, and I'd love to sit down and talk with you about all those plans.
Sure.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I got a personal friend who's interested in perhaps tuitioning in, so I want to make sure that I
Yeah.
don't invite them to tour until,
And maybe we come up with a calendar that are, of all the days that are good for touring.
Right.
Maybe we work it in reverse, but we also, a family may only have a couple of days here because they're thinking of moving from another state and they want to see it when they're here.
Right.
So we also have to have an emergency plan to make sure that we are accommodating to any prospective new families.
Right.
When we did our tour over at the reserve, I think his name was Adam, he suggested that maybe there be like a monthly virtual tour with the superintendent or some type of a talk. Maybe could you follow up on that? I know, that wasn't top on the list then, but now I think it would be good timing to see because they could schedule something where they can get a bunch of families and you can do it online, on virtually with Jeff.
Yep, we can do that too.
Just
Which
a
Adam was it?
discussion,
Do you
not
remember?
technically, not a tour, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just a discussion, question and answer, that kind of thing.
I think that Adam left. by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
The one that was in the car with us, driving us around?
yeah.
Oh,
He's no longer there.
I still think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, we can still do it. The other Adam is there.
Which,
The
the
sales Adam.
salesman Adam
Yeah.
is still there?
Sales Adam is there, right?
Okay.
Adam Fromm, right. Okay, so we'll do that, Bonnie.
Also, do we have a checklist, Bonnie? Have you guys been around? Have we asked the teachers? You know, like what needs to be cleaned up? You know, what's, you know, like there's definitely some items that could use a coat of paint, hallways, that kind of stuff. You know, is there a, you know, have you guys developed a checklist at all?
Yes.
You know, okay, just things that you would like to see done?
Yes, but we haven't gone over it all with Brendan to see what fits into his summer
Mm-hmm.
maintenance schedule too.
Those are usually
because-
work orders, yeah, that teachers and staff put in.
All right, well, I was also thinking about, you know, if there's other suggestions for grounds and maintenance, for example, outside the, you know, the entrance to the gymnasium, maybe putting some plantings around, you know, moving some of the rocks away from 17, tidying up the parking lot, getting it paved, that kind of stuff. You know, have we
Where
been?
would we get that
I
money
don't know,
from?
I don't know,
Yeah,
yeah. we're not-
I'm just,
we're not having any
well,
money for
these are the
that.
things that you want to talk about now, so that you get the ball rolling next year. You know, I mean, people are going to be, we've had, do you know how many tours we've had? Do we have a head count?
My recollect was there, 3 or 4? 3 or 4 of them, yeah.
Okay, because I know kids have been popping in and out of my daughter's class, and, you know, they're very excited, and so are we in many cases. So the important thing is that what they see is what they like.
Yeah,
So, you know, if you're soliciting feedback, I mean, I've talked to people in the community, and, you know, there's been a, you know, a couple of items that have been suggested, and the lower parking lot being one of them.
Well,
So-
what's the normal process annually for looking at the building and everything to make upgrades and suggestions? Like, how do you?
well, typically, we would look at the building condition survey and work with that. And if we had either money in the transfer to capital line, which next year, if the development continues to grow like it is and we continue to get increased assessments, I'm going to be recommending that we put money into the transfer to capital line every year. And possibly, if there's any surplus money, we add it to the capital projects fund, and we start addressing those things in the 5-year building condition survey.
Well, we've done that in the past. Does that need to be amended each year? Didn't we?
So the transfer to capital
Yeah, didn't-
is an annual appropriation.
Okay, so it's an
when we do-
annual.
So when we do the budget, we'll put an amount in, and we'll say, these are the projects we're doing, like when we did the steps, we did that one year. So we'll list a bunch of projects. We have to do that because the voters have to vote on those specific projects in that particular line item. And as far as if there's any surplus, we would add that to the capital fund, which we have authorization for, or we can set up another capital fund for other projects.
Does the capital fund need to be updated each year, or can it be, because I know 2 years ago, we did this exact same thing.
Yeah,
And I thought it was sort of an open-ended commitment that if there was money left over, we had the opportunity or the option to put it in.
if there's money left over, usually in the capital reserve lines, it's broad, so you can spend any of that money in that line. If there's money that's underspent, it could be brought back into the general fund to reduce any debt service. We don't have any of that, but it could be brought back into the general fund. Or we can basically put another resolution out, another proposition out to the community to take that money and put it into a separate proposition, a separate capital fund for other projects. We could do that too, yeah.
Okay.
So just remember that 1 year, you'll put out a referendum getting approval to fund it, and then you'll need another vote to spend it.
Yeah, we've been through that.
Yep.
So, okay, good. All right, just on that, sticking with that little trajectory there, can you also have at their convenience, our architect of record, just shake the tree on the broken window pane on the top of the auditorium, the skylight, there was a broken window pane when we had gone up and done our tour. That was a year ago, so I'm sure that hasn't been replaced. And also to have them give a look-see at the column bases. I know Milcon sort of had replaced some of that, and
Wait, so there's a broken window pane where?
on the top of the auditorium skylight. It's a cracked window pane. So I do believe there's,
Moisture?
what's that?
Can rain getting in? Is it?
No, but it's a matter of time until it cracks completely. So it's like driving around with a broken windshield. I don't know who would do that.
And what was the other one?
So, and the last one was take a look at the column bases.
Yeah, at the high school?
At the high school.
Yeah.
Just because I'm noticing a couple of new cracks back in that thing, so we just had them repaired. So,
One item for me is we were talking about the virtual tours. I would presume that anybody who wants to come tour live or virtual would be following our social media. I'm not a big social media guy, but it seems like there's been a drop-off recently. For a while, I was getting forwarded stuff from the school, but it seems to be a drop-off from my perspective. I'm not sure if that's real or just my limited perspective. So I would think we want to ramp up.
Additional item on here? Is that, you're just adding that?
Well, I would include under tours.
I'm not seeing a lot of posting generally
haven't
from
seen
GFB.
postings,
It's
yeah.
mostly just the senior spotlights, and that's the focus right now. I haven't, but GGM seems to continue,
But do we think
Go
that would increase the potential amount of tours? I'm not sure what the percentage is of people that will tour that will actually come, but I'm presuming the more tours we do, the more students will come here. Does anybody agree or disagree? I'm not sure how the social media works, that more social media would lead to more tours, which would lead to more students.
I would think so.
I think that it's not so much quantity as it is regularity, because I think if you're going to a site and you're looking back, if there's like a month and nothing has been posted, to me, that's less encouraging than you see regular posts. I mean, you don't need to have like 8 posts.
The
You
site
just need to
becomes
have one a
stale.
week or
It's
something.
stale.
Yeah, you just need to have something regular.
Can we ask the team to schedule posts to go out throughout the summer so that they're done before the school year, so they don't have to do them, but they'll be scheduled and they'll just run?
Yeah, a
throughout
nice
the summer?
snapshot of each grade too would be great. Just little things from every class.
I don't know if if those stipends cover the summer. I don't know. The teachers, they're teachers, so I don't know that they'll be here.
Well, no,
over
that's
the
why
summer.
I said do it before the summer.
Yeah, just
know it's-
pre-generate some posts that then can be sent.
And they've been doing a fabulous job too, by
Yeah.
the way. Thank you very
You're
much.
saying if someone on July 20th says, hey, we're thinking about moving to Tuxedo, and they go to our website, and the last post is,
Like,
there's been one post.
yes, yeah, because we had obviously the flurry of posts around the budget, and nobody's expecting that level of saturation. But it would be nice if there was some continuity. I think Susan's right. Can we pre-schedule some posts to go out every 2 weeks or something over the summer? They don't have to be particularly flashy,
Yeah,
just
something
something.
to create interest and excitement towards the new school year, or how you can who to contact for a tour.
Yeah,
just little
even that in a
tidbits.
post would be fine, yeah.
And the variety of things going out, whether it's about what's happening in a class or a presentation that's being made, or projects that have been done, or the kids volunteering someplace. I think that you never know what's going to interest somebody, but the person looking might say, oh, my kid's really interested in volunteer service. I'm glad there are lots of opportunities at Tuxedo for that. Or, oh, my kid is really interested in this, and they see a post that's about that. I think the variety helps to engage more people, bring more people into our fold.
I spoke to Michelle about that because Meg, when we had the BOCES, Meg would go out and actively get that information. Michelle had told me that it's a little bit different now because they're waiting for the teachers to send them stuff, and they're not exactly sending a lot of
and I
information.
can feel that, but I feel like there's definitely some posts from more teachers more often, and I didn't know what that was about, but
Are we
now I
t- are we-
understand. It's because
Yeah.
those teachers are the ones that are more proactive about sending
Correct.
pictures.
That's
because
right.
it seems very
Are we-
unbalanced.
Are we getting pictures from each and every grade?
No,
No, okay,
it's unbalanced.
okay.
Like, it looks like there's a whole lot of stuff going on in one area.
Is that, do you think that's because of the postings, the teachers?
No,
are-
it's because what they said, the teachers only get posts if they send pictures.
Okay.
Because we don't have a team that goes out to take pictures, because it's not their primary job.
Obviously not.
Right.
So I guess my point is that, maybe there's a screening process that's going on that we're not aware of, so,
Nope.
okay. Good.
Are we on to course offerings? That was,
Just also, yeah, I did go to the PTO meeting. I brought up that, when we were talking about maybe the PTO can give some type of a swag item or something like that, and they do have interest in helping out in
A
that way.
mini grant type of thing?
Well, just to discuss if whether it's a mini grant or whether you want the leftover magnets that they already have, but they're interested in helping out. Not to create them, but to offer the things so that somebody can create them. If they had volunteers, they would do it themselves, but they just don't.
I know. It's the same people over and over again.
I'll send those out. I'll send those out to you.
what's that?
I'll email those to you if you want to see them, your course offerings.
Okay.
Wait, so
Any questions about that?
I want to make sure I understood. Jeff, your understanding is that the schedule's going to be done by the end of June?
That's what we're shooting for, yeah.
Okay.
As long as there's not a flurry of issues that come up between now and then that interferes with it, but the goal is, if everything goes well, that's what we're shooting to do, yes.
And so you have the consultant has already been engaged?
Yes,
And is working?
yes.
Did we approve a contract? Were we supposed to approve a contract?
Yeah, at the
Did-
last meeting, we spoke, and I was gonna go through BOCES for that.
Okay, and so that's what you did. You went
That's
through
correct.
BOCES?
Yep.
Okay.
And has Marco, as I recall, that person was not familiar with school
Right,
tool,
so
and
Marco
Marco's
will help
supposed to
out
be.
with the school tool
Has
piece.
that started to happen, or?
We're not at the point yet for him to be engaged with the school tool piece.
But it's going to be done in like 2 weeks.
That's
Well,
what we're
20
shooting-
days.
That's what we're shooting for, okay? Yes.
If there are significant changes that are made, I just would appreciate if we could just, if you could just give us a rationale and help us understand and explain how, why the decisions were made
Sure.
and how they're going to benefit the students, what potential, additional preparation may be needed in order to, to be prepared
Mhm.
to execute that new course schedule, and just how monitoring and follow-up is going to occur, just so that we know that this new configuration is going to be successful.
Yep, we'll do that.
Well, and who is, because I think Chris raised a good point that we're going to be in the same situation next year if there's nobody in-house that is doing this. So is there some plan in place to capture this knowledge so that we can implement it ourselves next year without the help of a consultant that we have to pay?
We are, well, yeah, it's some federal funds, so that's good. It's not hitting the taxpayer. But, yeah, we're learning internally how to do that through this process, correct?
So
Yep.
who is the repository of that knowledge going forward? Like, in what person is that being vested? Just so that we know that there's like a person who is learning this who will continue beyond this consultant.
I'm doing it.
You are doing it?
Yep.
Okay. So you're gonna be the
The architect of the
the,
schedule?
or, well, I mean, you're gonna train the
I'm gonna
next
be,
scheduler.
as the superintendent, I oversee it, and we'll make sure that when we hire a principal, that they're knowledgeable about scheduling. Yeah,
And
we
you'll be
will-
able to train them in everything that the
That's the
consultant does
goal.
this year.
yeah, that's the goal.
Anything else? Funded extracurricular programs and anticipated sports?
Yeah, Walter's gonna give us, we'll send that to you. Walter's gonna provide that.
That'll be at the next meeting, or is he
Or
gonna present? I mean, I don't
or
care.
we
We
can
just want to
email
be
it.
able to answer the
Or we can email
questions
it.
that the public is
Yeah,
asked us.
or we can email it, either one.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe both, because I think the public wants, Susan, I thought you mentioned, like, public had interest in knowing
Yeah.
there's gonna be changes, more importantly, right, to next year's clubs and schools, teams, clubs and teams next year.
Yeah, I wanted to, look at how this year ended up, working out, because I know that we approved things, but we don't know exactly what was run, how many kids attended. So just some type of a summary would be helpful. And then also, are we going to be prepared to, or are you going to be prepared to recommend a new a new athletic director at the organizational meeting?
Thank you, Susan.
So
Thank you.
athletic director was posted June 5th. The deadline date's June 19th.
Okay.
Once
So,
again,
yeah.
that's internally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We did both, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Has there been any interest? One person? Okay. All you need is one.
So for the clubs that we, and sports programs that were cut, are we going to be sharing a communication with the parents on what's been cut so they know, so they're aware of?
Or we could just provide what's available.
So if they anticipated being in a club or a sport,
If we post what's available, then they'll know what they can be in.
okay. If that's, I
Well, it
mean,
might be a courtesy. If somebody was in a club all year and they really enjoyed it, or was in a sport, it might be a courtesy to let them know that that is being put on hold temporarily due to budgetary constraints.
right, I would do it where you're communicated in a positive way to let people know that it's not available, rather than, hey, look, I can't see it, I guess it's not there.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask some questions.
Yeah, I think affirmative communication is helpful and it avoids confusion.
Agree.
And is there, if we do end up at the end of this year in the black, this is one of the areas that I would like to put money back
We're all
into.
hopeful, buddy.
I know. Do
I meant black, right? Not green.
Yes, we're
If we end up
looking
in the
forward to
black,
it. We're all,
can we put some of that money towards putting back clubs that we may have had to put on hold because of getting the budget passed?
No. No, if we won't be in the black, what will be is less in the red because we appropriated fund balance. So we would just be appropriating less fund balance, that's all.
okay.
But we can
Understood?
appropriate fund
Oh,
balance
yeah,
for next
I
year.
absolutely understand.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bonnie's question, it seems like you could choose one of two options. And one option is you're in the black, so you appropriate, let's say you're $1,500 in black, so you can choose not to appropriate that $1,500 of fund balance. But that amount of fund balance has already been allocated, right? So in theory, you could take that $1,500 of fund balance and apply it elsewhere, or are you saying no?
No, you can't.
Why is that?
You can't overspend the budget, what the voters approved for next year. So there's a fixed dollar amount. If you added clubs, you'll be going over that dollar amount.
We can move money from a different item,
I see.
so
Correct.
we can add.
We can underspend something
Right.
next
Somewhere
year.
else.
$1,000 for the chess club, we need to find that $1,000 from a different line.
I see.
So it depends how you ask the question.
I gotcha.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, the Scopus meeting.
I would like to seek legal counsel on this one.
Can you give a general comment for the public who really?
Yeah, sure. I had a positive meeting with him one-on-one, well, not one-on-one, face-to-face, I should say, because he had a staff member there. He kind of went over some of his background and some history of how this came up and the nature of where the money was coming from. So I'm not sure what what your issue was, but I got a bunch of information, so I will fill the board.
Good.
Date and Jennifer board retreat.
I reached out to OU BOCES, and they are going to be providing some dates, probably in July.
Michelle, you're gonna have to take a look at those. You get a spa, a facial, we bill BOCES for it. You get the first 9 on the arm, so open bar for an hour or
That-
2.
So
More
that
like
brings
the-
us
it's
to
more-
Oh, that's not the
onboarding.
retreat
It's more
we're
like
talking
the,
about?
it's more like the rack and a bed of nails.
Yeah. Don't tell her that.
So that brings us to onboarding. I really want Michelle to have a very positive experience towards onboarding. And I know many of us, I would say the majority here, there was some hiccups because we didn't have the normal processes in place. So
correct.
I would love to meet to discuss how we're going
There's usually superintendents will provide an orientation. I did that for Will and other board members in the past. I usually invite the school attorney, and together we give you an orientation as role of board member, and that'll be further expounded upon when we do the retreat.
So, but
So we'll be inviting. I'm sorry.
sorry, but specifically for preparing her for that reorg meeting, that's completely overwhelming. And I know she's not a board member yet, but I would like to propose that some of us meet with her to give her a little bit of information about that meeting, so because she's going to need to vote on things, just so she's prepared for that. So I put out an email or text to see who was interested in that. We can't have a full board participation in that, but I know I have interest, Bronwyn showed interest, and John Michelle showed interest. I just want to know, is there anyone else who's interested? And then we can kind of figure out who
Yeah,
the three.
I think most of us are, so
So we'll just have to figure out
the issue is,
how.
We can
We need
figure out
three.
the
Right.
group. But actually that raises a question for me, and you might not have time to do this, Chris, but one of the things that's overwhelming about the reorg meeting is the sheer number of documents that come. Is there any way, and maybe we can just use last year's, if you're not gonna have time to prepare them in advance, but I guess to the extent you have even just drafts that you could, of all of, well, I mean, we could either do an old agenda just to go through, because there's so many reappointments and things that it's a lot to that's one of my visions for this like meeting, would be to go through like what these documents are that you're going to see, because it's overwhelming. You get so many. I don't know if there's some that have already been prepared, if you could send us those. They don't need to be in final. I mean, this is just an idea
like,
if
the number
anybody
might change,
disagrees.
the name might change, but the concept.
Yeah,
is
like
very
these are the
So
kinds
this
of
is just
things.
kind of a copy from maybe the last 2 years, this way it gives you.
Yeah, I think that would be, yeah,
I
that would
think
be,
even just 1 year might be
even
enough.
just one, unless there's something, unless one of the years was abnormal. But, and you would know better, like which year is the best kind of sample year in advance of, or in preparation for this year. That would be helpful, just that we could talk about it with Michelle, what these are.
Anything else? Any
Um,
follow-up on any, yeah?
I have an additional item. I just wanted to see how we're doing and if we are on track with the code of conduct, to have that prepared for the reorg meeting.
I followed up with Jared. He doesn't think he's going to get through that between now and when he leaves. So we'll have to put that on the new principal over the, and I'll have to take a look at it over the summer as well.
So would we defer, approving it because the information in there is inaccurate? It's not things that we do. There's,
We can-
David, when does
Okay.
it have
That's
to
exactly where I
be
was going, yep.
approved by?
David?
I think, Jeff, let's just say, let's talk about that upstairs, because I'm not sure what the answer's gonna be.
Well, if it's legal advice, it's legal advice. We can get it upstairs.
So add that, remember, add that
Yeah.
to the list
think-
upstairs.
even if it's just a few sheets, it doesn't have to be a full update, but at least the staff information is wrong. That's easy. You can just slip in a few updated sheets
Is there a
on that.
code of conduct committee that's working on this?
This should have been going all through the year. I don't know what was taking place most of the year. I follow up with them. But there's usually a committee, Bonnie, yeah. There's
that's what I
a
thought.
group of people that work on it.
When we get done reviewing policy, we can.
Anything else?
And the strategic planning committee that you have spoken about, did you want to get that going? What's your timeline for that, and who do you think?
I think a good idea would be over the summer. Let's review committees, mandatory committees, and ad hoc committees, and decide which ones will need a I'm blanking the word here, David. The rules or the what's it called?
charter?
Document, the charter. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what the charter will be like? For example, the audit committee has to have a charter, and we also need to have a facilities committee. But I recommend we do that over the summer, and this way we can appoint everybody, by the September meeting.
Okay.
But Susan, you were asking about not a board committee, but this like broader community-based initiative that Jeff has mentioned. Are you thinking of that in the same vein, Jeff?
I would do all committees. Yeah, talk about all the committees in the summertime. Yep, that's a big one. Strategic planning is a pretty big task.
So our goal is we'll talk about it over the summer and we'll start it up in September.
Yeah, and I think we're also going to need a planning committee to see, we've got to get enrollment projection numbers. So we've got to get a demographic study going right away. It's very hard to say what's going to happen. We've had years where we've lost 20% in one particular year. That's why you just don't know where things are going to shake out. So I'd like to get a demographer in here as quickly as possible, so we can figure that out, and we have to start doing some planning to see if the numbers, if we're going to have to look at doing some facility work at all. So we're going to need people to give their input, and it should be a community committee.
Okay. It'll be nice to see what that looks like on paper.
Yeah, yeah.
The goals and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, just one question. We talked about the textbook inventory
Mhm.
annually. Do you know if the principals are going to have that done before the end of June, or is that going to carry?
I
into
haven't
next
followed
year?
up. I'll ask.
If you could, that'd be great.
Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion to move into executive session to discuss multiple matters? That would be paragraphs A through F under section 105 of the New York State Public Officers Law, Article 7. Do I have such a motion?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll come back in a while. We may or may not have action to take afterwards. I'm actually not sure.
Probably not.
Thank you, everybody. We're back from executive session. Do I have a motion to officially return from executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Having no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Jeff, Ford, Dante, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.